So hello YouTube, this is Maria. Welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be baking for you, but at the same time, I'm going to be doing something else. Now, the recipe that I'm going to give you tonight is actually one of my most requested recipes around the house. So it's pretty legit. I'm not just giving you some random recipe. It's actually one of the favorites. It's a banana chocolate chip muffin recipe that everybody loves. But then at the same time, I'm going to be calculating the calories for the entire batch and for each one of those muffins. So that way it can give you some idea as to how you can calculate the calories of the items that you're cooking around your house, and also to kind of understand what it is that we're putting on our plates. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Let's do this. All right, what we have in front of us is all of our dry ingredients. And we've got baking soda, we've got sea salt and cinnamon, sugar, and flour. Our flour is 220 grams, 150 grams of sugar. Let's use the medium bowl that you have available, and let's mix all of our dry ingredients together. I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing up my ingredients. Okay, so I'm mixing my flour into my sugar bowl. Then I need to use my tablespoon for my baking soda. Okay, so 1 tablespoon. All right. Then we have 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Then you want to find half a tablespoon of salt. And what salt does to any recipe that you bake, especially that has sugar, is that it actually helps lift the flavors of your sugar and your chocolate. Especially this recipe we have, the semi-sweet chocolate, so it will give it a little bit of a punch. So half a tablespoon of salt. All right, these are the 5 dry ingredients. So we've got flour, we've got sugar, salt, cinnamon, and baking soda. Give it a good whisk. Make sure that all of the dry ingredients are nice and mixed. All right, so that does it. So now we're going to go ahead and mix all of our wet ingredients. And I'm going to use the largest bowl because once we put all of our wet ingredients in here, we're going to want to mix the dry ingredients into this batter. And so here we go. All right, so we also have 5 ingredients that are in our wet category. We have the yogurt, which is 1/4 cup. We've got half a cup of vegetable oil, vanilla. We've got our bananas, which is about 240 grams of bananas, 2 large eggs. And that's what we're going to start mixing. The first thing that we're going to put into our bowl here are bananas. And we're going to want to mix them up very well. So I typically use a fork, and we're going to want to mash the bananas. And when they're ripe, they're very easy to just mash up You shouldn't take too long, especially if they're at room temperature, which typically they always are, unless you've had them in the fridge, but mine were outside. Okay, so once we've had the bananas well mashed into our bowl, what we want to do is start cracking our eggs open. And I've left my eggs out at room temperature for a couple hours, so that should make the muffins a little bit more moist. Something about that makes it softer. So if you're going to be baking with room temperature eggs is something that I like to do. All right, so now we're going to be adding our yogurt. Again, it's 60 grams or about a quarter of a cup of yogurt. All right. And we're going to want to mix that in real well. All right, now not the final, next to last, we've got our vegetable oil. Which is the highest content of calories in this recipe, but you know, it is what it is. All right, it is what it is. We don't eat this very often. Nobody really does or should. What I'd like to do is to make sure that the oil is completely mixed into the batter. It's not even a batter right now, it's just a mixture of the bananas with all of the other ingredients. Then what I like to do is, you know, it's supposed to be a tablespoon, but I just add vanilla to my liking. And this is a Mexican vanilla. I live in the border of the US and Mexico, so the vanilla Molina is one that I use, and it's perfect. So you add and mix. All right, there we go. So we're back, and we are now done with our wet mix. Now we're going to start adding the dry ingredients into our wet mix, and I'm going to be doing that slowly just so it won't have clumps. I want to make sure that I mix the batter really well. But then you also want to make sure you don't overmix, because then that makes your muffins kind of tough. So let's do this. That's so delicious. You can smell the cinnamon from our dry batter. All right, we're ready for our second run. And I try to take my time with this, guys. I mean, there's no rush for most of the part right now. I mean, obviously when I'm recording and I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible, but I like to take my time. This is probably, about 5 minutes that I do this. So by the looks of it, I'll have another go at the mixing of the last part of the batter. So again, we don't want to overmix because then your muffins get tough. This will be the last of the mixture. Alright guys, so we are done with mixing our wet and dry ingredients. Now the last thing that we have to do is we have to put in our chocolate chips. This is my 122 grams of chocolate chips, semi-sweet chocolate chips. We are ready to fill our little containers for the muffins. I've already put the papers, so we've got 14 different ones that we're going to work. I've also gone ahead and turned on the oven. I have it at 425 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the oven for about 20-22 minutes. You want them to make sure that they're nice and brown at the top. Welcome back. Our muffins are now in the oven, and in 22 to 24 minutes we will be able to taste them. But before we do that, we're going to get to the second topic of this video, which is a topic about calories and the calories that we're actually consuming when we're eating things like our phenomenal banana chocolate muffins. And the reason I want to talk about that is because number one, I think that we shouldn't demonize food because food is fuel, but we do have to have a clear understanding about the caloric value of the foods that we're eating, especially when we're in those moments when we're trying to get into caloric deficits if we want to lose weight. And so it's important for us to know that we need to stay away from certain things at certain points in our lives, and that we also need to be balanced when we're actually consuming certain foods and eat them in moderation. And so it's never good to overeat any kind of food, but it's also not good to stay away from things that give you some sort of satisfaction. And so what I want to do is provide you with some information, so in the future when you're looking at setting yourself for a weight loss journey, you're going to be more educated as to how it is that you can go about it, eating the foods that you love. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our muffins. What I've laid out in front of you are the total calorie counts for each of the 7 major ingredients. I started on the left-hand side with the one that has the most calories, and then did up with the far right, which has the least calories that I really didn't track. I measured everything, got my information from Google, and basically came up with a total batch calorie count of 3,429 calories. I ended up with 14 muffins. So 14 divided by 3,429 gives us a rough total of about 250 calories per muffin. So now that we know that each muffin has 250 calories, what do you do with that information? Well, for starters, you start looking at food differently. You start thinking about food in terms of a budget and what you can fit into your diet based on the different goals that you may have. For example, if you're someone that's looking to lose weight and you're in a calorie deficit, well, if you think about it, you might or might not be able to include or incorporate that kind of muffin into your diet. If you're maintaining your weight, well, you probably can, and if you can, you might do it only in moderation. So what you need to do is understand the caloric value of the foods that you eat in order to better inform yourself about things that would keep you adhered to the diet that you want for the rest of your life. Because my goal is for you to understand that food is something that we shouldn't be afraid of. Food is something that we can actually have, and we can have a little bit of everything, but only in moderation and based on our current situation and our goals. So if you take the time to understand the caloric value of everything that you eat, then you're going to be better off to accomplish your goals. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, tell me down in the comment section what you would want me to do next or what you would want me to talk about. I'm happy to come out here and do another cooking or baking video if you want to know more about, the caloric value of different foods. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much. Until next time, I hope you have a stronger and healthier life.